Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Thrive After Sports podcast. I'm your host, as always, Taj Deshawn. If you're joining us today on the Power of Story podcast, thank you for tuning in there as well. We got a great guest today, folks. I've been excited to interview this man. It's been a long time coming. This is a former teammate of mine at Stony Brook University, Mr. Mike Lisi. What's going on, Mike?
What's up, Taj? What's going on? Yeah, it's been a long time, but it's funny because I see you doing a lot of good things, and I really, I look up to it. I appreciate it. I see what you go through, and it makes me thrive for more as well. So,
likewise, brother. Hey, I appreciate all the work you do, man. We kind of been cheering each other on from a distance for quite some time now. And just for anybody tuning in with us today, this is why I wanted to have Mike on, because as you guys know, not only because Mike is a former teammate of mine at Stony Brook, but just the example that he's setting for what it looks like to thrive after sports, right? And not only that, but you guys know, you see the book in the background, Athlete to Entrepreneur, the recent co-author project we came out with. I've been talking about this for quite some time now, how athletes make great entrepreneurs. And Mike is a walking testament. This man is a serial entrepreneur. We're going to get into all the different projects this man has going on. But before we do that, Mike, can we just kind of jump off just a little bit of background, and then we'll talk about what happened after you left Stony Brook. Can you give the listeners a little bit of background about what you're up to these days and who you are?
Yeah, for sure. I'm from Long Island, New York, Nassau County. I have my first business I ever opened was my gym. It's called RAF Strength Fitness, and I've had it for now. We're going to be finishing year 7. And then I have a Mexican restaurant called Curbside Mexican Grill. That's in South Hempstead, Nassau County. And we're about 2.5 years into that right now. And then off of the gym and the restaurant, I have a meal prep company called New You Eats. And we had that for, I want to say, about 2 years now as well. A little bit after the restaurant, we started that. And I'm also working on a little invention on the side right now. And business consulting as well. So a couple of different things. I never made a business consulting a real business yet, but I've been consulting with other entrepreneurs, helping them find more revenue in their business over the last couple of months. And I've been really enjoying that a lot lately as well.
That's awesome, man. See what I said? I told you guys, walking example of athlete to entrepreneur right here. Now, Mike, I know none of this happened overnight, man. Just to be clear. So for anybody listening, as we get into this a little bit, I want you guys listening to Mike's story and his evolution and how all of this came about. And I want you to put yourself in his shoes and be inspired by it for whatever path that you're on. So we graduated around the same time from Stony Brook. I think we're maybe a year apart, possibly. I can't remember at this point. But what happened after you left Stony Brook, man? Were you looking at going to the NFL? Did you have any prospects? What was the transition like for you?
So originally, I was fortunate enough to, be a 4-year starter and, a captain. And I had a really good first 3 years in the college level. And, unfortunately, I was talking to a couple of scouts and the Chargers, Colts. It was pretty cool. I was sitting in the film room with them and watching film and then pick my brain. But unfortunately, I had 3 foot surgeries going into my senior year. And my senior year was full of injuries. And I actually broke my other foot and played with it for 6 games during my senior year. And I kind of permanently damaged my other foot. So football was kind of out of the question. I didn't miss a game, though, because, we were kind of still in playoff contention, at least in the middle of the season. So I kind of wanted to get out there and play. And I don't regret it for any, but I never got that chance to even, do my pro day, which is, kind of sucks, but after that, I just kind of moved on, and it's kind of okay, for the last 22 years, I was 22. The last 22 years, all I really knew was football, and I built up a work ethic to get better at football, and that's literally all I did. As you know, if you're anybody at that level, if you get there to that level, chances are you have a good work ethic. You have to. There's no other choice really. To get there. And then, to stay there, is even a bigger task. So I kind of just transferred that work ethic and energy into fitness. So I was a center, so I was 300 pounds, and I said I'll lose that weight right away. So I did. I lost 75 pounds right off the jump right after college ended. And it's funny, my brother-in-law John, who my sister married, he was a trainer at Synergy Fitness, a local gym here. He was a head trainer there, and he wanted to open up his own gym. And he kind of just asked me if I wanted to help out. And then we ended up, working stuff out. We were going to be 50-50. And I literally opened up. So I'll play my senior year, 2014, in the fall. We ended in November, and we started talking about this in September. And we literally opened this up, took a big risk and opened it up in January that year. So I got right into it. Which I had, I don't have regrets, but like I never stopped. I was just like kind of healing my foot and just getting the gym ready to go. Cause I had a pretty big like local following here from football. And I've been training with the trainer since I was young. I always studied it. And I was always like a student of sports performance training and strength and conditioning. So I kind of just took what I had and just kind of, compounded it pretty much.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It sounds like you had a smooth transition, like you said, just being able to lock in on that go-getter mentality that you have from athletics and applying it directly into the training. Was there any sort of, well, let me ask you this. How did you know to do that? Was it just kind of instinctive? Did you have a conversation with someone about it?
Well, I really didn't, like, I had a health science degree in Stony Brook, right? But I really didn't know what I wanted to do with that. Originally, I wanted to go to physical therapy school. But this opportunity kind of approached me, and I just said, let's just give it a shot. That's it. I'm 22 years old. Just give it a shot and see what happens. If it don't work out, it don't work out. There's a risk up front. You lose that, obviously. But at the same time, I never had a student loan. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to have a full scholarship. So at that time, I'm thinking, as people my age with a lot of student loans, what's the risk here? And, hopefully it pans out. And, it did. So, it built me some confidence. And I had confidence from sports. I was down with, my foot in sports a lot and, counted out a lot. So I was just kind of transferred over that energy and power and focus from football, into the real world.
That's great, man. Did you deal with any sort of it sounds like you didn't. I'm just asking in case anyone listening might be dealing with something similar. Did you have any sort of internal things that you were struggling with, like no longer being a football player, or were you just like pedal to the metal, let's get out there and start executing?
No, without a doubt, I still did. I missed it like crazy. I definitely did. But at the same time, I think my way of coping with it was me putting this energy into my business where, anybody that knows, how to start a business, it takes a lot of energy and focus. So it was perfect for me. I was able to channel, what I had going on in my mind about, not being able to play, not being able to do my pro day. So it's like, okay, I can't do that, but let me focus on this and strive for myself because this is my future. So, and to be honest with you, I didn't even know what it would turn into. I really didn't think it would turn into this. At first I didn't, because I was still young, just kind of naive. But after a couple of months, I said, okay, this could be a real thing. And I knew that I had a vision, for the future. And now we've built up our gym to a pretty prestigious gym in the local area. So
that's awesome, man. And you definitely have, even though, like you said, you weren't necessarily prepared for the future, but you knew great things were coming, and it's been great to watch that unfold. So, you start out as a trainer. A lot of athletes, and I'm sure you know this too, man, a lot of athletes get into training, get certified, the whole nine, but you didn't stop there, man. For you to take just you being a trainer to build out Rise Above Gym, number one, how did you know you wanted to have your own gym? And then can you just give us a little behind the scenes about what it was like actually starting and building up your own gym?
I always had a passion for sports performance training. I always had, when I was in high school, I used to love the weight room and things like that. And actually, when I was done playing, I had an opportunity, a little bit of an offer, from my dad to take over his successful business where he had a beer distributor in Long Beach, New York. Where I could have chose that route, took over not probably, way more comfortable choice. I would have definitely had, a set income to start with. I know I would be pretty successful with that. But at the same time, and he didn't steer me that direction purposely. He said, go with your passion, which I did. And I kind of had a passion for this. And I knew that in the long run, it would work out. But that's not to say that in year 2 and 3, I was kind of second guessing myself for sure. The the first year I knew it was going to be rough, and it was definitely rough, like financially, of what you can get out of in the beginning of a business. But after that, you can see the future and see how much you could really build, and then you feel comfortable to keep on going with it. So I kind of got that out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Props to you for sticking through that, man, and staying true to it, And then so after Rise Above Gym is up and running, you didn't stop there either. You started Curbside Mexican. That's what it is?
Yeah, Curbside Mexican Grill. Yeah.
Curbside Mexican Grill. Okay. Grill. What was the decision like to get that up and running, and how was the process? Because I don't know anything about the food industry, man. What was that like?
Yeah, so like honestly, I didn't either. And when I first I really always wanted to open up a restaurant. I kind of always picture like a sit down place eventually, which I still kind of do in the future. I still want to have that one day. But it came a little bit earlier than expected. So what happened was me and my buddy that I actually met, he has a restaurant down the road from my gym that I just met because I went there a lot. It's called Avli Greek Kitchen. It's a really good Greek place where I used to go there. We became buddies. We knew each other for like over 8 years just from me going there. Literally, he's around my age. And we were talking about opening up something together, something else, and I want to be an investor in it and kind of like oversee stuff, mostly in the beginning of it. And that's what we did. We got together. We planned some stuff out. I actually texted one of my buddies from growing up, like from back in the day, my buddy Ryan, and he was already successful with his career as a hotel manager in New York City, but he was down to operate and own it as well with us. And he brought his brother along, Brandon, and we just created a really good team together. So it's 4 of us, and we have a really good team, and we're looking to expand that right now as we speak. We're looking at different locations for another location of that as well. So
yeah, man, that's awesome. And just a quick side note, Long Island, when I was out there in Stony Brook, man, thank you for opening up a Mexican spot, because they are far and few in between, man. And even the Mexican spots out there that I went to, there was, I can't remember what it was called, but there was one across the street from the tracks on campus.
I think it was like Cabo Fresh, maybe one of those,
something like that. Yeah, and it was,
no, that was the green. That was the green cactus. That was the green
cactus.
Yeah.
And I'm from California, man, so I'm spoiled with the Mexican food. Green Cactus was not cutting it, but it was the only place to go if I wanted Mexican food. So, man, shout out to you, man, for opening up a Mexican spot and expanding out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like at the time when we opened, like it was definitely popular by then for sure, but like there still wasn't enough. And there's it's definitely populated now in a saturated market. But we have our own niche, and we're doing good, thank God. So it's fun. It's fun creating new things. You're giving job opportunities to a bunch of people, which is cool. And you're just figuring it out. You're figuring things out as you go. And I think that's what good entrepreneurs do, is they're able to problem solve.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed, man. That actually leads me into great entrepreneurs are able to problem solve. I wanted to ask you about the business consulting, right? Because I know you don't just work with former athletes, but the people who listen to this show are predominantly former athletes. So, and as you know, man, part of what I do is after I help an athlete get through the transition and get clear on what they want, if they're looking to get into a certain industry or want to build a certain type of business, I'm connecting them with people like yourself who are former athletes who have businesses and who, do consulting and things like that. So is there any particular business, any particular niche that you help with consulting, or is it kind of more, you can kind of give a whole overview of that?
I mean, I definitely love to help anybody in the gym or like yoga business and stuff like that with like membership programs. And that's definitely my strong suit. But like I do coach a lawyer right now that he makes a lot more money than me, but I find him ways to market himself and to get back to his clients, like retention with people, messaging, SMS marketing, email marketing, all of those things that a lot of lawyers, especially the older school ones, never adapt to and do. You can kind of help them do that, and that's going to bring them more revenue. It's going to up their business. So I guess definitely the gym field and studio is my strong suit, but I really have confidence in helping anybody's business and I love when people help my business, because an outside eye into your business is the best. Like if you're in your business for so long and you're inside of it, you don't see these things because you're just too tied up with the day to day. But if you have somebody from the outside eye, that's why I have a business coach myself, coaching me with my business, because I'd like that outside eye and somebody to push me and keep me accountable as well. Because you never can, you never can be coached enough. And I'm always used to having a coach my whole life, so it only makes sense too.
That's good, man. There's a lot of gems in there. There's a lot of gems. I love what you shared about the fact that you have a consultant. You have a coach, because you're being poured into, you're investing in yourself while allowing someone else to pull you up, which enables you to pull other people up. And like you said, man, you've always had a coach. It's so important for athletes to hear. You want to find someone. I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about in general. If you're a former athlete, you got to find other people who can coach you and pull you up in different areas, like Mike is doing, right? So that's phenomenal, man. And, a lot of people, maybe this would be a good idea, since we're talking business and entrepreneurship, a good idea for you to give some advice on this piece too, because a lot of people these days, they want to be consultants or coaches of some sort, right? I consider myself a consultant. I call myself a coach, but I'm a consultant as well. Where do you even begin figuring out, okay, who do I want to coach or consult for? And then how do you go about building a business around that? I know it's a big question, but
So no, of course. So what I did is I kind of seeked out like gyms that I think needed it, like not in my area. Obviously, you want to help people, you help people from, all over the country. But I got the idea from me first, being in membership, in mentorship programs and stuff like that. That's where I got the idea. And I actually started like a free program where if people, what people were interested in gaining some free revenue ideas for their businesses. And once I did that, I got like 15, 20 leads. And I worked with some people from that group for free for a couple of months. And then after that, I realized how much value I could bring to them. Like, if I could charge them, a certain amount per hour or X amount per month, but I can make them X times 5, you know what I'm saying? It only makes sense for them to, to use me. And then also not only about money, but like organizing their businesses and creating systems for their businesses so it can operate a little bit smoother. So the owner's not always involved 24/7, because the headaches and I still struggle with it from the gym for sure, but I've gotten so much better, is this place doesn't run without, it's like doesn't run without me or my brother-in-law and stuff like that. Like, it has to be us here. But like over the last 2 years, we've really been implementing stuff, and we've been able to take some seats. And like, I would honestly feel comfortable leaving my gym for like a month or two if I had to. I wouldn't, I would still be working virtually for it, but like I can never imagine that a couple of years ago. So that's like, freedom is huge. Freedom is huge. So if you learn how to create freedom and you're an entrepreneur, that's like, the golden ticket in my opinion. First you got to make the money first, get the revenue up, then you can create freedom, and then you're truly an entrepreneur in my eyes. And then you can do what you want to do. Until then, you're just kind of like a entrepreneur junior, working your way up. Which I still consider myself, because I'm still trying to, free myself a little bit more. And then, free myself to do other stuff, to do more things, and then open myself up to, which I've done, but I want to do more. So.
Right. Yeah, I love that, man. I love that you talked about creating the freedom and how you put systems into place to be able to do that. Like you build the system so that the business can run without you. And that's how you set yourself free, like you were saying.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And like some business owners, like they have a great business, they're great at what they do, but they're not tech savvy either. So they don't know how to build all these things. And it's really not that hard once you set it up. And then like some people are scared to hire people, like they see like, okay, I got to pay this person $500 a week. And they look at, at $25,000 a year, X, whatever it is. And then they're looking like, how can I pull that money? But if you realize you could trade, you could trade some hours so you can go make some more money, for your business, doing bigger tasks. If you realize you could trade like, your own hour, you can pay somebody $20 an hour to do, a lower task. You can go do a bigger task that's going to bring you in more than $20 an hour. Then, it all makes sense. So sometimes it's just helping people realize and see that vision as well.
That's great, man. That's great. I wanted to ask you too, I skipped over the meal prep service.
Yeah.
So you started that after you started Curbside Mexican Grill, correct?
Yeah. So like we had the gym, we had clients asking, and we had the kitchen. So it's like that's a really tough business, the meal prep business. Like we have to go like really full speed at that if we really want to survive in a normal setting. But luckily we're fortunate enough to have a kitchen already paid for by our restaurant. Things like that, the overhead cost is lower. So to us, it was just all gravy, and it is. It's just pretty much, besides food costs and a little bit of labor cost, I mean, it's all profit, which, and, in most businesses, depending on the industry, I mean, you can profit from anywhere from 5% to 50% of sales, really. I mean, depending on the industry, but in the restaurant industry, it's like 5 to 20, 5 to 25%. So like for us, we were able to kind of make our profit a lot higher in that business. So it was only it was like, you can't really fail. So it was like, why not do it? If we did fail, it's not a big investment up front with us. So it was just kind of compounding what we already started.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, it definitely helps out to already have the kitchen in place. Why not add on another leg to it? Yeah.
Exactly. And we cook it. So we cook the meals on Sunday mornings at like 6 a.m. to like 12, and the restaurant opens at 12. So it's not even affecting. Like we do weekly orders, right? So the orders are in by Friday, and then we have the orders ready by Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. So, and I have their food for the week. So
nice. Smart, man. One of the things that I love about all these different things you've created is that they're all interconnected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's smart, man, because I think nowadays you see a lot of people who are kind of all over the place, right? They'll start something, they'll either not see it through, or if they do see it through and it's successful, now they're trying to branch off into something that's totally unrelated versus like, how can I get into another vertical that's similar to what I'm doing? And they all kind of tie in together and support the same mission. So that's huge, man. And something else I wanted to bring up, I forgot to mention this earlier. Not only are you an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, but technically you're an inventor too, man. The clips, the barbell clips. Can you talk to me about those a little bit?
Yeah, so we're in the process of that right now. We're talking with a couple different companies. But anyway, so I always had this idea, even back in college, of creating a barbell clip that's built into the barbell. Like, why we have to have it off the bar? Have to go find it, and it's easy to explain it to somebody like you because you know how a college weight room works and how fast things are moving. And like if you're not like ready to go, you miss that hour. You miss that. 1 minute. 1 minute in that room is very valuable. So we're increasing speed, liability of a clip not being there. It's always going to be there. So your safety is improved, and then it can never be stolen as well. Because commercial gyms, anybody can just walk out with a barbell clip and just walk away with it. And then that gym is liable for that barbell not having a clip and, like lawsuits and all that stuff. So I said, why can't we, solve this? And we're still in the process of solving it right now. We created our first, we had like 4 prototypes, but our first like real working prototype about a month or 2 ago. And now we're kind of out there. We have to fine tune it or find somebody that's interested in taking it. And we have a couple people. I mean, we spoke with big companies, like, which is pretty cool. We had meetings with some big companies, and there's some like pretty much what they'll do is like some companies say go back and do this and then come back and see us and stuff like that. So it's a rough business for sure, trying to get your product out there, and this is really a niche product. But we're working with another company right now that's really interested in it, and I think it'd be a good fit to their barbell. So we're trying to kind of partner and sign a licensing deal with somebody. And maybe multiple people, and we have a couple in the works right now, but nothing's guaranteed with that. And it's really like a cutthroat business. It's pretty tough, but we're learning. And I said, like, okay, I'm at this stage. I obviously invested a couple of dollars into this. Definitely a lot of time. But if I don't get anything out of this, I did invent something. I have a patent, pretty cool. And not a lot of people take that jump, and then also have a lot of experience from this. I have a lot of connections that I met in the fitness industry from this. So, like, to my eyes, I already broke even, honestly, even though there's no finances back in my pocket yet. But we're still striving, of course, to make some money off this, and hopefully it'll lead into something else as well.
Bro, that is awesome. And it's one of those things, Mike. When you first showed it to me, you directed me to the page, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, this is genius. How has nobody thought of this yet? And I'm glad, you know what I mean? And I mean that in a good way. Like, I'm glad you thought of it and you're taking it.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's what everybody says. And so the good thing is, like, the idea is out there. We have the patent for like anything coming out the end of the cylinder of a barbell and opening out. So we have that. So if anybody else wants to like go out there and like improve our product, like, we'll make some benefits off of it, because we have the patent for 20 years. It's filing right now. So, that's how it works. Like, I knew nothing about patents and stuff like that before this. I had no clue they even, I knew what they meant, but like, what do they actually mean? I really didn't know. So, that's why it's cool too. Like now I'm knowledgeable on all this stuff. Is say if I'm older and somebody comes to me with a product idea and things like that about investing, I know all the ins and outs about it already. So
yeah, that's great, man. Oh, we're going to talk about all your social media and everything once we start wrapping up. But can you just, if people want to go check out the barbell clip, can you just tell them where to go?
Yeah, so the barbell clip is _ QuickClips. So just, how it's normally spelled, QuickClips. You can go check it out on there, or it's on my Instagram, my personal Instagram. It's Lisi, LISI _strength _conditioning. And I have, if you go to that page, Lisi _strength _conditioning, I have all my businesses on there. So you can just get to the next business, through that page, Curbside and New Eats and RAF. So.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, man, I know we have a lot of, this is predominantly former athletes who listen to this, and people in athletic departments, maybe even some strength and conditioning coordinators. So definitely want people to go check that out. Once you see it, you'll be like, wow, yeah, I can't believe they didn't have this when I was working out in college or in the pros or whatever. So genius, man. I want to take some time just for you to give some advice. I have a couple questions for you, just for you to kind of give some advice to the former athletes and people tuning in, whether they want to get into business or they're just trying to figure out what the hell am I doing now that I'm no longer playing. The first question is, I know you're someone who just went pedal to the metal with taking your athletic mindset and just getting busy. You know what I mean? Like making shit happen. And that's a beautiful thing, man. So what advice would you give to someone who's maybe, they hung up the jersey for the last time and they're just kind of trying to figure it out? Like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I'm just lost. Can you give some words of wisdom to them?
Yeah, I would say, and it's not easy, it's easier said than done. Just try to find something that you're passionate about. Try to find something you're passionate about and kind of follow that route. Get yourself out there, intern different places if you have to, if that's how you can get yourself out there to kind of feel different vibes. Because for me, like I thought my passion was fitness after I finished and, strength and conditioning. But I really realized that my real passion is just helping people. So like in my gym, I'm helping others. In my restaurant, people say, how are you helping others? Well, I'm giving job opportunities and feeding people's families, like about, 10 people in our kitchen and stuff like that. So that's one way I'm helping people in that business. Same with the meal prep company. We're helping people live a healthier lifestyle. And then the barbell too. So it's like, and then obviously consulting, like that's my passion. I just want to help others. I feel like I, had a little bit of success earlier on, so I'm able to kind of pass it on. So, but if I had to tell somebody, just kind of follow your passion. Don't do something that listen, you might have to work some kind of job just to make some money in the beginning, you know what I'm saying, that you don't like, but at the same time, get your head in the books on what your passion is and study it and don't stop studying it. That's what I did, like with fitness. So, I would work my sessions, as you can imagine, in the beginning, the first year. I was pretty much just a trainer. Of course, I was an owner, but there wasn't a lot to manage in the beginning. So what I did was I mapped out like 3 hours every day or 2 hours every day. And I had it like scheduled where I would just study different training techniques. I would study different methods used and just keep on gaining knowledge on it. 'Cause I wasn't sure this is what I wanted to do for sure at this point, but I just kept on doing that, became a little bit more of an expert in that field. And then after I kind of, more of like an owner role in my gym, then I studied more business tactics. And that's what I still do to this day. I study more about business and, how I could be a better business owner in all my businesses. So I would say, overall, just try to find your passion because that's what you're going to be happy with. And that's what you're going to want to do every day. And if you want to do it, the chances are you're going to make some money in the end. It might not come right away, but it's going to come,
So good, man. I love everything about that. Just the fact that you even brought up, you may not be able to do what you're passionate about right away. You got to, something people have heard me say time and time again on the show is sometimes you have to do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. But
Exactly.
Your example of being able to know what the vision is, and then like you said, making time in your free time. If you don't make the time, it doesn't happen. And you're a prime example of that. You made the time to be able to get your skills up. That's another great thing I love that you touched on is, a lot of us, I was guilty of this, man. When I graduated, I thought just because I got a scholarship, a free education, that someone was going to be waiting on me with a job and waiting to pay me just because I'm me. I love that you shared, you have to bring the value up front, spend the time getting your skills up to be able to contribute. And by helping people and adding value up front, eventually you'll be compensated, like you just said, man. So that was really strong advice right there. Another question for you. Do you think entrepreneurship is for everyone?
That's a good question. I don't think it's for everyone, but it could be for everyone. Like it could be, if you want it bad enough, it could be, you got to have a certain kind of mindset, I guess. You got to be more of a go-getter for sure. Mental toughness. Like you got to be mentally tough, because there's going to be days, and I still have them. I had this morning. There's going to be mornings where you're like, shit, like this is tough. Like, how am I going to get out of this? And, I'm dealing with some trainers that are out right now, and like our schedule's a mess for the gym, and it's like stuff is snowballing. But then there's other days where, we've, look back at our success. So it could be for everybody, but you got to be mentally tough if you want to get into any kind of business, in my opinion. I mean, you got to be able to withstand things. You can't get too high, can't get too low. Like, when things are going great, you can't be like so excited about it. When things are low, you got to be like, okay, I'm all right. Let's just move on. Next page. Keep on moving on. Keep on moving on. You got to have that kind of personality and mentality.
And that was good, man. With that being said, do you think that athletes have a little bit of, not an advantage, but I guess a leg up over folks who didn't necessarily play competitively?
I think they do have an advantage, honestly. I really do. I think athletes do, because it shows you that, especially athletics, it shows you, like, whatever you work for, you're going to get. Like, I was supposed to redshirt my freshman year. Like, I had a terrible, like, spring ball, my first spring ball. So I was automatically redshirted. But, like, we got to the first day of training camp, and I was like in my set myself, I was like, there's no way I'm not playing. Like, I've never not played in my life. And I know, like, freshman redshirt, I knew that was a thing, like 99% of freshman redshirt. But I was like, I gotta find a way. So, like, I got in the fight with I don't know if you remember, I got in a fight with Rosie the first day of practice, and he was like a senior. He was a senior D tackle, 5-year guy, and I said, like, I don't care. I said, fuck it, I don't care. Like, I'm going after this guy. Like, I'm making a statement, and that, and like after that, so I gained some respect and kind of just got myself in. So it's like, if you went through those experiences in the past, like, it's not easy, but it's definitely an advantage in business for sure. Because you can look back and say, like, okay, I've done that before. I came back from this injury. I've been through the hardest workouts, and stuff like that. And, you're not physically, I thought it was always all about physical, but it's all about mental toughness and mental preparedness from your playing days leading into the business world. So I think definitely a little bit of an advantage for entrepreneurs that play sports, especially college sports, because demand is so high. It's like you're in like a real job when you're, how it is. I mean, you have your schedule mapped out for the day, and they demand high quality work from you throughout the whole entire day, every single day. So,
right. Yeah, that's good, man. And just for anybody listening, I do remember that fight, by the way. That's hilarious about that. I just had a flashback. But for anybody listening, yeah, of course, are we a little biased because we're both athletes who, now have our hands in multiple entrepreneurial ventures? Of course. But at the end of the day, we're not trying to say, if you're not an athlete listening to this, that you don't have everything it takes to build a business if you really want to. We're just offering you encouragement for all the former athletes who can hear, like, here's two guys who are doing it, especially Mike. I mean, this guy has multiple businesses and is an inventor as well. So I think that's great. Oh, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No. I mean, I agree with that 100%. And, like, people, like, not to say that, like, other things, like, if people, it's just like, it's not really sport. It's more the fact of events, I guess you can call it, that can lead you to that. Like if you were, if you were working at like, say if you're a kid and you were like in like a spelling contest and stuff like that in like elementary school, high school, and that was your thing, spelling. That's not a sport really, but that's still like the same. You're going through those struggles of getting better at that certain event. It doesn't have to be sports for sure. It doesn't have to. It's just that sports are so common, and it's an easier way to learn and adapt. That's all.
Most definitely, man. Well, hey, Mike, we could easily keep this going for, another hour or so, man, but I want to be respectful of your time. And I definitely appreciate you coming on here and just sharing your knowledge and wisdom, man. And for anybody who wants to get in touch with you and kind of find out more about what you're up to, I know the Instagram is Lisi_strength_conditioning, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And they can find links to all your other businesses on that page. Anywhere else that you want to point people to?
I mean, that's the best way. That's the best way for sure. If you guys are interested and you're in the area, we're having a lot of Black Friday sales for my gym. for RAF, for Razabel Fitness. So if you're interested, just hop on my Instagram page, Lisi_strength_conditioning, and I'll lead you out to the gym as well.
Awesome, brother. We'll have all that linked in the show notes. Make sure you reach out to Mike, check out what he's up to, get inspired by all the things this man is up to, because, you know, Mike's just a human like you and I. So if Mike can do it, you can too. But
yeah, and if anybody's listening, Taj, anybody listening to this right now and wants like some advice, you're young, just stop playing sports, stuff like that, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I'll be more than happy to help you out in any type of way.
That's awesome, brother. Thank you for making yourself available like that. I'm sure you'll have some people reaching out. And man, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Mike, I want to thank you again for your time, brother. I know people are going to get a lot out of this episode. You are a prime example of what it looks like to thrive after sports, what it looks like to go from being an athlete to an entrepreneur. So appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day to be here with us today, man. It means a lot.
No, of course. And thank you, Taj. Keep on doing, you know, the great work you're doing. I'm always watching. So, and I love it. So keep it up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. All right, everybody. This has been another great episode of Thrive After Sports and the Power of Story podcast with Mike Lisi. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode.